Director's Reflections for June 4th of 2023. The transcript betrayed me again. The day after my catastrophic debut as a journalist, after my first inaugural note was denied from top to bottom, I almost stumbled over the same stone again. If it had happened, I think that due to professional shame, I would not be able to resist another setback in a row, because in the eyes of my editors, they will see me as an unreliable reporter. But I was on the verge of failing on the second day of committing the informative fiasco when the deputy director, Mr. Francisco Comarasami, asked me to go back to the street to look for news. I think that with this accolade, Mr. Frank was trying to lift my depressed spirits. It was the only way to get over the unexpected knockout caused by the public disapproval of my chronicle by the eminent Dr. Benjamin Viel Vicuña, whose discourse on condoms and contraceptives I involuntarily distorted. Mr. Benjamin, as I told you last Sunday, was promoting the virtues of condoms or preservatives and birth control pills. But in the news that I made of this proposal, due to a bad and confusing reading of the notes in my notebook, I attributed expressions totally contrary to those he had postulated. After this scientific virulent denial, whose theories had been inadvertently called into question by a novice and careless journalist, I was sent to interview the directors of the Nuestra Señora de la Altagracia Maternity Hospital to find out their reactions. And the same thing happened again. The scribbles that I wrote in my notebook without good memory support suggested that I had understood that those doctors supported the legalization of abortion, and it was the opposite. When the editors realized that such a position was doubtful to them, they stopped the notes I had written and called one of the doctors to verify if it was true or not. They have said that. Scandalized, the doctors denied the version that luckily was never published. That unfortunate episode was enough for me to fall into a kind of misfortune, because from then on they only sent to me to cover social or small-scale activities. This experience made me take more seriously the need to learn and use a safer and more reliable method of recording my interview or coverage data. I stopped writing in shorthand because I hadn't even mastered that technique, and put more care into the mental record of the statements and not put ideas attributed to the interviewees in quotation marks. I've also learned to review with the interviewees at the end of the meetings the key aspect of their ideas so that they were clear in my mind and in my notes. Only journalists have to leave undesirable experiences for having made a mistake in the construction of their stories, without any intention or bad faith. That was the same thing that happened to me in my first two outings as a staff reporter for Listín Diario back in 1968. After I refined my methods and disciplined myself by reading twice what I wrote and asking others to carefully correct my notes, I avoided other frustrating experiences like those that marked my debut in this career 55 years ago. For Listín Diario, voiceover and translations by Indira Rodriguez.